Peekaboo, happy Monday. We're back, week 5, day 19 of the Diddy trial. Child, oh, man, I did mean to come on the weekend, didn't have time. Well, I did, but our child is not together. So I'm here today. We got a couple of things to show you, but I really want to get right into the testimony. We have Jane still on the stand, but you know how this goes. If you're in the replay, skip ahead about 6-7 minutes, and I'll meet you there. If you are in the bushes or in the chat, hang tight, and I will be right back. Peekaboo. Peace, world peace. Welcome or welcome back to Goddess Dawn Speaks, aka the $1 trillion goddess baby. It's a mindset, a frequency, and a what? A vibe. You know it. They also call me the Queen of Info because when I got it, I bring it. And I'm here today. Yeah, we're getting into the trial, heading into home, hopefully. And yeah, you know, the defense tried it. They tried it. Hold on now. Maybe there's a technical difficulty. Hopefully, y'all have been able to hear me. Yes, sir. Okay. My speaker was on mute. I didn't know. Thank you. Bye. All right. My sound, they say, was going in and out. Hopefully, you can hear me now. And I don't even remember all the stuff I was saying. I'm wondering, should I take the mic out altogether? I'm going to try that. Testing 1, 2, 3. Let me know if you can hear me in the chat, please. Give me a 1. Oh, you said it sounds great now. I unplugged the mic. I want to know how it sounds. Let me know, honey. Somebody. Give me a 1 if you could hear me. Well, I guess if you can't hear me, you can't say nothing, huh? Oh, you hear me? Okay. Well, while I'm here, let me say hi to the chat, the warriors, the chosen ones. Thank you for your patience. The Black Letter Law stopped in to say, hey. Wow, Wayne, thank you as always. Faye, UK Faye, love and peace to you too. Thank you for being here. Antonia Maria, welcome. All right. Faye said, I know this trial is a lot and heavy, but I'm here for all of it. So invested in this trial. Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier. I'm in it now. You got to follow it through. Hey, Michelle, how you doing? Hug the babies. Okay, I think. Hey, Juti. Hey, Boo. All right, we're about to just get started, y'all. Now, before we get into the testimony today, I'm going to start with the Washington Post. Give us a little bit of what happened before the testimony started at the court. So at 8:22 a.m. Eastern, they said Jane has already delivered some of the strongest testimony of this trial. They say we are roughly halfway through the testimony of one of the trial's most compelling witnesses, a woman using the court-approved alias Jane, who dated Sean Combs as recently as last year. Jane frequently broke down on the stand last week as she described a relationship that began with lavish trips and a charm offensive by Combs before devolving into domineering control, abuse, and allegedly being coerced by Combs to have sex with male escorts. She will continue telling her story this week and face cross-examination from defense attorneys who contend the couple's roughly 3 or 4 year relationship was consensual if unorthodox and toxic. Of course, that's the route they're going to go. I believe this was Friday. Let me put this picture up for Friday. So yeah, this is literally facing your accuser and literally facing your abuser. I mean, in this case, it is alleged, but this is the definition of. Miss Janice Combs coming into court today. Seems like she's getting younger and younger with every picture. It's very strange. Remember the first couple days, she was looking quite haggard and frail, as did Diddy. But today's a new day. I guess, all that hype that's going on outside the courtroom, she gets catcalled pretty much every time she goes to and from. Okay. Let me get the courtroom picture back up. So this is last week. Now, it's unfortunate that people don't know what anonymous means. They don't know what a pseudonym is for, because people literally went on their platforms and blasted this person's identity out there as if it wasn't already discussed in the court by the judge. And yeah, he admonished, of course, he's talking to the jury first and foremost, as well as anybody else in the courtroom, or maybe even the overflow if they can see this person. But they did speak to people having channels, YouTube channels, etc., that they're watching and that they will contact should they break, the anonymity of this person. And it happened. I was just like, wow, people they don't care at all. All right. So they also spoke to what happened over the weekend. Sean Combs' defense team. Yeah, this calls for a different picture, because he and his defense team always got something up their sleeve, child. I mean, I guess that's what's to be expected. He has about 10 attorneys on his team. He's paying really good money for these people. So they got to make it look good. And I'll just read what it says here. Over the weekend, Sean Combs' defense team filed a letter to the judge, Arun Subramanian, requesting a mistrial based on prosecutorial misconduct. Last week, the defense showed proof that Combs wasn't in Los Angeles on September 26, 2016. The date government witness Brianna Bongolan alleged that Combs dangled her from the balcony in her 2024 lawsuit. Bongolan testified that she was using drugs heavily at the time and couldn't remember some key details, including the exact day of the alleged assault. But she said she had no doubt that Combs assaulted her on that balcony. In quotes, it says the government has presented testimony that it knew or should have known was materially false related to its allegation that Mr. Combs dangled Brianna Bongolan from the balcony of Cassie Ventura's apartment in September 2016. It says, read the letter from Combs' attorney, Alex Shapiro. Accordingly, to avoid an unfair conviction in this case, the court should grant a mistrial. The defense's previous request for a mistrial based on testimony from another witness was denied. So this is kind of a go-to tactic for them. I guess if it's part of the legal game, then that's the game they're playing. Makes sense. They got to use every bit of ammunition that they have. Yeah, I saw he was doing that, Juti. I saw that. Yes, please hit the like. Okay, we'll be getting into the testimony of today. I know it's going to be pretty graphic and detailed. So as usual, there is a trigger warning. So they're saying, though, before court started, a phalanx of TV cameras and news photographers surrounded the federal courthouse in Lower Manhattan on Monday morning, awaiting the 19th day of testimony in Sean Combs' trial. Every day, there has been a line of spectators and members of the public waiting to enter the courthouse. Photographers capture images of Combs' family, who arrived in a Mercedes Sprinter van with tinted windows. We are roughly halfway through the trial. Halfway through, they say roughly halfway through, but I think we have another week of, well, the defense has to also come up as well for their turn at bat, and then there's closing arguments. So yeah, I guess it could very well be halfway. Definitely trying to get through this. So they say that halfway through the trial, and the government could wrap up calling witnesses by next week. On Monday, we will hear from Jane, an alias, that's today, former girlfriend of Combs, who has provided days of grueling testimony that included allegations of trafficking and abuse. I don't think she had gotten into the abuse part yet. I mean, she got into the coercion of, the hotel nights, but I think there's more coming. So they say Sean Combs had entered the courthouse and is mingling with his attorneys and legal team. Over the weekend, lawyers for the hip hop mogul filed a motion requesting a mistrial. We are expecting to hear Judge Aaron Subramanian address the concern at some point today. Defense lawyers claim that prosecutors put a witness on the stand, Breonna Bongelin, who had perjured herself. Bongelin testified that Combs dangled her off a 17-story balcony in Los Angeles in 2016. But defense lawyers provided evidence that indicated that Combs was in New York on the date of the alleged attack. So I'm going to get right into it because I think the judge did respond, but the government hasn't, and you can't make call an order. You can't make a decision unless and until both sides have responded. Okay, let's get into it. Thank you, as always, to Matthew Russell Leaf of Inner City Press on X or Twitter for the live tweets. Of course, can't do it without him. Can't do this part of it, at least. So he says, okay, now U.S. versus Sean Combs, day 19, with Jane still on direct. There are issues about anonymity. He says that before the jurors come in, the judge says, I have the defense's motion to dismiss, but the government has said they will respond today. I don't have anything from them yet, so we'll address it tomorrow, along with whether Dr. Hughes can be recalled. With that said, let me see lead counsel in the robing room. And then the reporter inserts, so what is being discussed? The issues around the order on pseudonyms? Did Jane's counsel ever submit her list of publishers? Nor indication in the docket despite this. Okay, so at 9:18 a.m. Eastern, the jury is brought in. The judge says, all rise. Jane, you are still under oath. Prosecutor Comey says, good morning, Jane. Jane says, good morning, Miss Comey. Publish this photo to the jury, but not the screen in the public gallery. Who is this? Jane says, Sean's security. And this, she says, Sean's deputy butler. Who did you call ATL? She said the entertainer Sly because he lived in Atlanta. Your message to Sean, what was it about? My trip to New York in 2023. He wrote, send me some shit of you being bad. I understand she has an accent, y'all, which I can't pull off. I don't even know what type of accent, but I was going to try it, but I don't think I will. Okay, so James says, then Sean says, I got the phones. Just send me what I don't have. Don't say no to me, please. And then they asked, what did you write? I wrote, you are traveling with our phone? And they asked, you mean not Sean's two main phones? She says, yes, his assistants had access to those. I wrote, you're using this to get your D hard for someone else. Comey says, and he said, what did you say? I wrote, I'm not coming to New York. You just want me there for a hotel binge. Why did you say that? She said, I saw a podcast. About what? What about? She said. Sean bragging about having sex for 48 hours straight on a yacht trip to an island near Miami. When did the podcast air? a month after Sean said he'd take me on that yacht trip. What has Sean said he'd do with you on this yacht trip? As Attorney Estavio says, objection, the judge overrules. Jane says, after a 2-day hotel night, we go and do more on the yacht, but we never left, had to recuperate. I saw on social media he took a girlfriend there. What did you write in your notes app? I wrote, I don't want to come to New York to be treated like a hoe. What did you write? Why did you write this in your notes app? I wasn't sure I was going to send it, but did you send a version of it? Yes. What did Sean reply? It was just podcast talk. I said you took her to the Bahamas on a yacht, not me like you promised after the hotel night. Can you read your text? I quoted him on the podcast. You made Papa proud. You wrote, I don't want to feel obligated that you'll stop paying my rent. What did you mean? The guilty, trippy things that he would say that I had to perform. For how long had you felt that? Since I got home in April 2023. Play this exhibit. And it's Combs' voice. This is a true open relationship. Why do you have to make it a problem? Now I'm sick. The prosecution asked, how did you reply to this voice message? Jane said, call me back. He called me back. Then we had a FaceTime. He said all the things to calm me down. What did you send Sean from the plane to New York? A photo of my outfit. Where were you planning to wear it? To dinner. What did Sean send you? He said we're going to dinner. Did you? A late night lounge thing. I'll read this for you. You wrote, I miss hard D. And Jane said, I wrote, yes, I have my passport with me. Then what did you write? I wrote, you turned me on so crazy, can't wait. After the flight took off, I got a message from Sean. What did Sean ask you? Where Sly was. Then he asked, entertainment or movie night, let me know, I'll get a hotel. How did you react? I felt upset and a little defeated. What did you send next? Baby, just got Wi-Fi again. What did Sean write? He said, check red phone. The other message he sent me, he said, I'd have a surprise for you, just one. What did you take that to mean? That there be somebody new. And she's sobbing at this point. I see baby Yoda's name up in there. What's going on, baby Yoda? Happy Monday. The prosecution asked who? She said an entertainer. I hated it. What did Sean send you? A picture of the man. I rolled my eyes. I wrote back, it's not loading. We are landing now. What did you send Sean? I suggested we go to Casa Cipriani, but I was driven to the trunk. I put on my outfit. What happened that night? He was late. We went to that lounge. We bickered a bit. He was defensive, but we went to the room and Sly came. What did you text Sly? I asked if he could come to New York. I felt I needed to make it up to Sean. Did he come to the Trump Hotel and he have sex in front of Sean? She says yes. After that New York trip, where did you see Sean? In a Miami at a hotel. Did you take these pictures, which aren't shown to the public gallery? She says yes. We had Sly in Miami as well. Then I went back to LA. We had an argument there. Tell us why. He wanted to set up a party. He wanted me to reach out to entertainers. I noticed something online that he was with an ex-girlfriend of his. I was furious. Did you ever speak with any of these other women? No, I found out on Instagram. These text messages on October 15, 2023. Please read what you wrote. Jane said, I text you got that girl next to you. Her bullshit is already starting. Meaning, she said, drama. I told Sean to introduce her to P. Who? One of the entertainers. Then I wrote, I'm not a porn star. These experiences are desensitizing sex for me. And here on October 16, 2023, the same fight. Please read these. I wrote, I don't want to be effed in these rooms. I felt there was more pressure on me than the others. There wasn't an ambiance. There was an imbalance. I had to earn basic things for my romance, love and romance. He was giving it to others. He was clearly capable of it. I wrote, it's been 3 years of me having to F strangers. He wrote, so we're breaking up? Is that what you were proposing? The government asked. She said, no. I wrote, I need a break spiritually. And she's sobbing. What did you write next? She said, I wrote, sex is sacred to me. 3 years later. I wrote, you always push me to do more and more. I said, I need time to myself. I said, Estavio asked for a sidebar, and the judge says you may. There's a sidebar. During the long break, Combs is standing talking with his attorney, Xavier Donaldson. At 10:48 a.m., judge says, please be seated. Miss Comey, please bring Jane back. Jane walks up back Combs's table as he passes a note to his lawyer, Alexander Shapiro. Comey asks, what did Sean write to you? He wrote, I want to spend the day with you. I wrote back, you make it crystal clear exactly what you want me for. You're going to spend the day love bombing me? What did you mean? Sean is very love bombing. I said, I'm not just an animal people can F on. He said, you're crazy? Comey asked, how often did he call you crazy? She said, often. I said, you want me to suck some D so you can jet off with Gina? I said, I'm drained. He said, I'll leave you alone. Comey asked, in the next message, does he use your true name? She says, yes. And does he say, that's my house too? He does. He wrote, I'm coming over. You gonna let me in or not? Is your baby there? Are you gonna let me in our house again and again? She says, Sean wrote to me, I'm so stressed. I'm horny, SMH. Comey says, what does SMH mean? She says, shaking my head. He said his knees weren't good. I said, I was hitting up my mom. She said, taking bone supplements is key. And then they asked her, then you saw Sean? She said, yes. We had the sobriety party at the hotel. First, I went to a concert. I stood with his security. With his security, Jonathan, I went to the store for supplies for the hotel night. Sean was in the hotel waiting. He called me, bitch. What the F is taking you so long? I got there. His assistant said, you don't deserve to be called a bitch. Comey says, at L'Hermitage, what happened? She said, I didn't want to take the drugs. Who was the first entertainer? She says, Rico, then Paul, then Anton. Then I threw up. Sean said, good, you threw up. Now you feel better. Then I had sex with Anton. I felt terrible. Whose text is this? I wrote, baby, I love you. Do you think you could put something in my hotel? Did Sean respond? She says, no. I needed furniture for the house. I wrote, you weren't too busy to make sure Chelsea was ready in DC. USA says, play the voice note. And then in Sean Combs' voice, you hear, I don't know where the F Chelsea is. I ain't with no bitches. Leave me the F alone. I'm single. Comey then says, what frustrations did you feel? She says, not being heard about how I felt about the hotel nights. Did you use names for the other women? She says, yes, it was misdirected anger. I asked, what does the house have to do with what I'm saying? Jane wrote, I wrote, Jane said, I wrote, I'm not Gina or Cassie. Comey says, were you telling Sean you were going to speak out about your relationship? Objection, and it's sustained. Government says, please read, did you reference your child? She says, yes, you got me effed up. I said, you got me effed up. I said, just complete what he promised about the 2 years about the home. I said, don't contact me. Comey asked, what did he say in response? He said, I'm super clear now. I said, you had me on constant pins and needles. Now I'm sick. Leave me alone. Comey asked, does the next message reference a prior relationship you had? She says, yes. Then he says, I was told you were crazy. He said, you took it too far, baby girl. You'll see. He was threatening me about the rent, that we don't need to do anything we don't want. I wrote, you're mad at me about a grown-ass man. Comey says, stop right there. Was this referring to your prior relationship? She says, yes. I wrote, you wasted my time in this toxic-ass relationship. Did you then refer to your previous relationship? She says, yes. You invited me to New York to pair me up with some random man, any MF, for your own sick sexual. And then Comey says, what were you talking about? She says, the 2 men I had chose for myself, Sly and Anton. Sean kept trying to say I chose them. I had wanted it. I wrote, you want to gaslight me. What did you mean? He wanted me to believe I had wanted these things. What else did Sean text you? He said, you and me don't have no beef. I said, you created all this evil inside of me. I wrote to him, I regret everything, all this toxic shit, which overran my life. He said, you're burning a bridge that you're going to need tomorrow. And what did you write? I wrote, I don't trust you. He said, 10 hours ago, you loved me. Now this. He wrote, it's a free country. I'm an adult. You're an adult. You're writing a whole book about what you hate about me. We both made promises that we didn't keep. If you don't want to talk to me, there's nothing I can do. Prosecution asked, did you get the phone? She said, yes. What did you write here? I said, you knew I would be finished. You knew I would finish strong. Pep talks to keep me performing. I know I was consenting. Like you said, you didn't know I didn't want it. This is my truth. I love you very much. I need to take a pause. Why did you say, I know I was consenting? She said, I pick up the word from him. He said, if anyone saw these videos, they'd say you wanted it. Was that true, Jane? I'm still trying to figure that out, she said. Comey asked, what did you see in the videos? Jane said, I was high. I was just following a pattern, performing. Prosecution says, exhibit, please read it. It's from my notes. I wrote, I'm having PTSD from these nights. Why in your notes app? Get my feelings out. Did you see Sean that day? Yes, at his home. I was comforted by him. I was able to talk about the pain I was feeling. He was hugging me. What are these? Photos of us in his master bathroom. I felt he understood me in this moment. He had a Halloween video shoot. That was nice, but his birthday was approaching and I felt nervous. He'd want to party hard, but he spent his birthday with his family. I got him a mobile television. We had these things called movie nights, our videos. I felt this TV could substitute for the entertainer. Then Cassie's lawsuit came out. It was everywhere on social media. I think I fainted. Comey asked why. She says, and she's sobbing, because there were 3 pages that were harrowing that I was experiencing. Did you screenshot those pages? She said, yes. Do you recognize this? It's Cassie's lawsuit filed November 16, 2023. Had you met Cassie? In 2015, a fashion show and celebration for Sean. That's the only time I met Cassie. I was reading these pages and it felt like a nightmare. I had a lot of sympathy for this because Estavio objects. The judge says, ask a new question. They asked, how did you react? She said, like, I can't believe I'm reading my own story. Comey says, read your messages the day after Cassie's lawsuit. And then Jane said, 4 in one night, and now I'm going to the doctor. The prosecution says, then 3 days later, she said, I feel I'm reading my own sexual trauma. God finally woke me up about this cycle. You gaslit me. Comey says, we're going to play some audio with your true name redacted. Show the full transcript to the jury. So they say a loud and scratchy audio was played. Sean Combs saying, I love you. You know what I'm saying. I'm trying to stop all this madness. Jane said, I don't know. Comey asked, did you know you were being recorded? She said, no. Did you know you were being listened in on? She said, no. There's more audio of Jane saying, who's there when I close my eyes and I have these effing F things in my head? The prosecution says to play the audio to 3 minutes, 45 seconds. And then Sean Combs' voice gets heard. I'm trying to be there for you. You know what I'm saying? Jane said, I'm just effed up right now. And Combs asks, are you recording me? And Comey says, Jane, were you recording him? She says, absolutely not. There's more audio of Sean's voice. What you did is not right. You know what I'm saying? I can't talk on this phone. I don't know what the F is going on. I need you to support. You got me that video thing. What did that mean? She said, the mobile TV, I got him. Comey says, Your Honor, this might be a good place to break. The judge says, okay, jurors, you may go. The jurors exit. And the judge asks Comey, how much longer? She says, I'm confident I'll finish today. It may be at the end of the day, but today. And then there's a break. So even after they finished, they're going to be cross-examining her. Okay, so she's back on the stand. And she says, I was commenting about the girlfriend of another rapper. I said she is so beautiful. And then Comey asked, was this rapper an old friend of yours? She says, yes, I was flown to Las Vegas. There was a busy birthday party and we went to a strip club. I recognized Anton. Comey asked, other than that time, had you ever seen Anton other than on hotel nights? She said, no. This friend, was it platonic? She said, yes, in the hotel room, Anton was having sex with a woman. The rapper and his girlfriend were there. There was flirting. And then Comey asked, how were your finances in January of 2024? Jane says, better. I decided to do an OnlyFans. What kind of content did you create? Lingerie, swimwear, implied nudity. What's that? Your hands cover your body. I wanted to stand on my 2 feet. I was also getting child support and some money from Bear. I advertised this brand on my social media. He offered me money. Actually, he just sent it to me. Comey asked how much. $9,000. He said, if you want to post for my brand, do, no big deal. So he just gave her $9,000. You do what you want. Okay. Jane says, Sean messaged me. He'd had a dream about me that I was on the Concorde. Comey asked, why did you answer him? I missed him dearly. He said, so what do you want to do on your birthday? I said, I'm traumatized by my past birthdays and what they led to. And what does Sean write? If you change your mind, I miss you. Stay happy. Love. What did you write? That I'm just being mature. I don't think I'm ready to see you. Did you see him on your birthday in February 2024? She said, yes. How was it in Miami? Sean had candles. My heart was beating super fast. And I think his was beating fast too. We were oddly in the same color. I thought that was nice. What happened at dinner? Balloons, a 5-course dinner. We used ecstasy. Then Sean asked, do you want to see Don? Comey asked, what was your reaction? She said, I was high. I said, okay. Me and Don had sex in 1-star. Then we rested a couple days. Then we flew to LA. We were back together. In 2024, did you visit Sean? She says, in Miami in May, July, and August, and at my residence in LA a couple of times. Did you see Sean go out in Miami and LA in 2024? Did you and Sean go out? She says, no, things had really hit the fan. A lot was going on in his life. The press was after him about Cassie's lawsuit. Comey says, with which entertainers did you have sex with in 2024? Anton, Don, Larry, we stayed in the residences. There was a lot of focus on Sean elsewhere. I showed him how lucrative OnlyFans was. Sean was putting on music and he went to my phone. He asked me, who's Bear? Why are you texting like this with him? The money thing came up, that Bear had sent me money. He started getting dressed. I started crying. I felt misunderstood. What did Sean text you? He wrote, what's going to happen if I come over tonight? I said, do you want me to be alone? I can arrange that. I wrote back, he was supposed to see his mother, in air quotes. I meant another woman. He wanted a party. Comey said, what did Sean ask? He said he wanted me to sign something for him so he could have closure. I thought he meant so I wouldn't be a threat. Had you ever sent him a demand letter? No, Sean said, you're making your own money. What did you reply? I'm working on paying off my debt after being on call, unfocused. How did you go into debt when you were dating a millionaire who gave you thousands? Estavio objects and the judge sustains. Comey asks, what did you write? She said, I'm tired. I said, I'm tired. You can't even make it to the 2 years without bringing it up to me. What does Sean say here? Bear, my colleague, I said, I hate living in fear. The roof over my head was just going to come off. I asked, did you tell Robin, that is his accountant, to cut it off? He said, you're making your own money. Comey says, did you continue to pay your rent? Did he continue? She says, yes, he kept paying. Did you learn his houses were searched? She said, yes, and Homeland Security came to my house. Who hired you a lawyer? She says, Sean. Is Sean still paying for your lawyer now? She said, yes. What? Did you talk to Sly after the 2024 searches? She said, yes. He called and he had a tape and he intended to release it bit by bit on the dark web. I asked Sly how he got the video. He said that Sean picked up his phone and recorded with it. I asked Sly how much he wanted. He said $10,000. I told Sean Sly or Cabral just tried to extort me. Sean was crying. Prosecution said, what did he say? Jane said, get legal on it. Did you speak with Cabral or Sly? She said, yes. I told him this was sextortion and I would not talk with him. Then a media company called me and said they bought the tape and I did have a comment. I fainted. And did I have a comment? I fainted. We had to control the situation and she was in tears at this point. Okay. You just sent me something, Michelle? Okay. Still paying for rent is crazy. I agree. Yeah, thank you. It is heavy, but child, I'm just pushing through. Yes, if you just came in, please hit like and subscribe if you want to stay. Thank you. I appreciate you guys too. You said Diddy's a total narcissist and a monster. I could not and would not like to be in the courtroom. Don't think I could handle it. Juti said, I hate Diddy with a passion. Shout out and lots of thoughts and prayers to Jane Doe. Absolutely. Hey, Trav, trigger warnings, trigger warnings, trigger warnings. Absolutely. Michelle said, karma is came back on Diddy, child. All right. Hey, Nia, you driving? Okay, be safe now. Okay, back to the courtroom. Oh, wait, Joe Juti said, being blackmailed from all sides. Right? Unless it was Diddy's making her keep her on his side. Yeah, I was thinking that too. Yeah, definitely be safe, Nia. Okay. Let's get back to it. Comey asked, did the media company ever publish the video? She said no. Do you know why? She said no. Then the hotel video of Sean and Cassie came out. I was with Sean in Miami. How did you first learn of that video? There was a knock on the door. Sean called out. I went down and everyone was talking. It was a 2-star. Sorry, y'all. How dare I yawn? It was at 2-star. So I guess he has 1 star and 2 stars. So these are the 2 mansions that are next door to each other in Miami, I think. So Comey asked what happened. Jane says, Sean was huddled with his team and family. I was just giving everyone space. Later, we had a huddle. His sons were involved. Huddle for what? To come up with an apology. He showed me a draft of what he would say on social media. Did you read it? He addressed Cassie by name in the draft I saw. I felt it was more heartfelt. I thought it was good enough. So he was huddled around his family. Why didn't he call his publicist or his attorney? Because, child, that apology video, they bringing it up. Because you know they're going to play that. Did you talk later one-on-one with Sean about the video? She said, yes. He said that Cassie hit him too. That I was told KK was coming and I had to go to another room. I did, and I went back to LA. Did you recognize this? She says Sean's IG apology. They played the video to the jury, not on public screen in the gallery. And then it says Sean's voice, disgusting. I have asked God for this mercy and grace. I'm truly sorry. Comey says, how did you feel about it? She said, I was disappointed. I felt there was no heart. Estevio says, wants a sidebar, and the judge says, sure. So they have a sidebar. And the judge says, when they get back, jurors, you may take a break. The jurors leave. The judge asks, Ms. Comey, can I get a proffer as to relevance? So they have a problem with the apology video. Comey says, if I can't compare the drafts, I'll strike the last question about comparing the drafts. Ignifilo says, we want all those questions stricken. I advised not to name Cassie as she might be a grand jury witness, so privileged. So he's the one that told Diddy, don't put Cassie's name in it because she might already be talking to the feds. So Comey says, our next question are about Combs' violent assault on Jane and forcing her to have sex with an entertainer while still injured. It goes to state of mind. Oh, so we're about to get into the violent part. Comey says, I can play the video again and avoid any privilege issues. The judge says, okay, bring the jury back in. All rise. So they play the apology video again. I was effed up. I hit rock bottom. I sought out professional help. I'm going to therapy. I'm going to rehab. Okay. Jane, what did you understand he was referring to? She said the hotel elevator lobby video. The next time you saw him, June 18th, 2024, where did you see him? Home in LA, date night in the house. Jonathan came to help set up. What did Jonathan do? Put some candles around the home, decorate with red lights, make the environment cozy. What was the plan to have an entertainer? She said, no, I wore a long brown dress. I opened our patio, which was a really nice view. Did you two get into an argument? Yes, we had champagne and some tequila. I started confronting him about who he was with on his family trip to Utah. What did you say to Sean? I said, you are a PDF file. He was 25 or more years older. Hmm. I said, if a girl can't buy her own drinks, what makes you interested in her? I believe she was under 21. Comey says, but older than 18? She says, yes, I pushed his head into the marble. Then what? I started throwing candles and glass. I was angry. He was probably cursing and calling me crazy. I wanted to lock myself in the master bedroom. Did Sean touch you? Sean touched you? She said, no, not yet. I locked the bedroom door, but he kicked it down. Then he kicked down the bathroom door off the hinges. He kicked him way into my closet. I tried to run, but he kicked me and put me in a chokehold, and I couldn't breathe. I went to the front door and to a wall 6 blocks away. How long did you hide there? 2 hours. Then I went back. I saw Sean. Sean kicked the guest bedroom door. I was throwing glasses and candles at Sean. I shouted that I hated him. He started punching my head and saying all kinds of things. Saying what? That I was trying to keep him away from his kids. I said no, but he kicked me on the ground. I was balled up. Then he grabbed me by my hair and my arms back to the house. What was he saying? That I was effing crazy. I kept saying, just leave me the F alone. I called the girl Sean was with and I asked if she was on the trip with Sean. She said very insulting things. Then Sean held me down, so I had to listen. What did you do? I told her to shut up and that he was beating my ass. Sean hung up. Then he told Jonathan to tell me he wasn't with no girl on his family trip. Comey asked, after the FaceTime, what? She said, I went to the shower to cool off. Who was with you? Sean. I saw a black eye forming and welts. How were you in the shower? Naked. Sean was in his pants. He slapped me. I fell to the ground of the shower. Then what? I was exhausted. I just sat there. Sean said, just put some ice on it and put an outfit on. Comey asked, outfit? She says, lingerie and heels. Sean was using my phone to play pornography. He texted Anton on my phone. My phone was screen mirrored to the TV. Sean texted, hey, what are you doing? Sean scrolled up and saw Anton's message about our mutual friends. Sean asked me how the mutual friends were. I said I didn't know. Comey asked, why did you lie? We were on a break. I didn't think I needed to say it. Anton showed up. I moved my hair so that my injuries couldn't be seen and used makeup like Sean said. I greeted Anton and I tried to be polite. I asked him how his day was. Sean was giving me his evil stare. Sean said, I need to talk to you. We went into the guest bedroom. What happened there? He said he wanted to know about the mutual friend. I told him I went to his girlfriend. I saw Anton sex with another woman. What did Sean say? He said, do you have this corn starting something over me? Comey asked, did you take rugs? She says, yes, right around this time. Sean told me, take this effing pill. You're not going to ruin my effing night. Go out there and suck his D. I said, I don't want to. What did he say? He said, is this coercion? What happened to the pill? I consumed it. I performed oral sex on Anton. I felt sick. I was like, even in my own body, I felt disgusted. I felt terrible. How did it end? When Anton finished, I excused him, tried to put on a good face. Sean called me a whore. After he left, he sent his security with money to me for Anton, $10,000 or $12,000 in cash for Anton and the 4 damaged doors. What did you do with part of the money? I Ubered $3,000 or $4,000 to Anton. Have you ever fixed your doors? No, there were other bills. They show photos of the broken doors to the jury, but not on the public screen. The government asked, when did you next see Sean? She says a few days later. They asked why. She said, I missed him. We were trying to have a Sunday fun day, but it was like tense. Did you and Sean talk with Jonathan? Sean FaceTimed Jonathan, asking him what he saw that night. For a moment, Jonathan saw me through the corner crying. They shot a video of Sean and me out in the yard. Did you inadvertently film your injuries? She said, yes, my welts. When did you learn that Sean went to Wyoming? I was outraged. He was with another woman. Did you block him? Yes. How long? 2 or 3 weeks. Then I saw that his mother had been hospitalized. I wanted to put what happened between us to the side. He said this was just too far for me. I saw you had me in a box. Do you see the name of the rapper? Yes, I flew on a red eye to meet Sean. And what did you do? We had a really nice time. Sean said, you could tell me when you're tired. What did you say? Let's stop for now and see each other later. His demeanor changed. He said a man spends all his money on you and you say you're tired. He threw water on me, called me a bitch, gave me an ecstasy pill. What happened? Sean was celebratory. He said, let's go. Did Paul come to Miami? Yes. Did Paul come to 2-Star? Yes. I was given a spray bottle, liquid Molly, into my mouth. I felt a surge of high octane sexual energy. Paul comes in. I greet Paul with that energy. Did you have sex with Paul in front of Sean? Yes. When was the last time you saw Sean in person? August 2024 at 2-Star. Did you have sex with Dawn in front of Sean at 2-Star? Yes. One last text message, the last one I'll ask you to look at. Did you go to New York to see him? No. Why not? He was arrested. Did you get a subpoena? Yes, I had to come in November of 2024, then January of 2025, and after. Did you see a therapist? 3 months now. Do you have an attorney for this case? Yes. Who's paying? Sean. I'm still processing. Nothing further. Jurors, you may go. And they're adjourned. What? He's still paying for her. That's kind of crazy. I don't see any other text. Let me look over here at Washington Post real quick. So what do y'all think of today's testimony? Even though that was, not the full detailed testimony, some people are out there reading full transcripts. I don't really have the patience for that, to be honest, but I don't have the transcripts either. But if anybody wants to send me the transcripts, I'm happy to give it a go. Michelle said, no more private conversations and meetings. They're always listening to us. For sure. Juti said 10 to 12K for Anton, and she gets 10K. She probably didn't want to give Anton nothing. She said she gave him 3 to 4, I think. Juti said he really hates women and sees us as a commodity. Absolutely. Trav said, Lord have mercy. He knew dang well he was punishing her with the FO. Of course. And he was alternating these girls, Gina, her, and before that, Cassie, and doing that. I don't see how he got anything done in life. Andrew's asking who's 25 years younger than him. I was wondering the same thing. I thought it was young Mike. Oh, she is 25 younger. I was thinking it was her, but then I thought she was a little bit older. So she said the word is out, PDF file. I know. I was like, what? Is she clocking some kids? But sounds like she's making a reference to the fact that she's so much younger. But she wasn't necessarily a minor. She wasn't a minor. Diddy learned it from somewhere. Faye said, lock Janice up too. Michelle said, how many phones does he have? Family too. Wonder what they thought. Lock them kids up too. You talking about for the apology video? I agree with that. It was weird that she said the boys that the kids were down there. I don't know. Did she say just the sons or his kids? But they were around when he did that. Faye said, I hate Diddy too. Sad AF. Hey, I hate Diddy too, Nia said. Wow. Yeah, she said he was crying. So I believe he did have a lot of teary-eyed nights. Okay, let me go over real quick to Juti said this is so weird, paying for her lawyer her rent. Exactly, but yet maybe she's holding back. Maybe that's the agreement that you don't tell everything. Because that is very strange. Okay. I don't know if y'all remember Brendan Paul was mentioned as one of the dealers. Remember Brendan Paul was a little white kid, the white guy that got pulled. He was trying to get, I guess they were about to leave out the country on a private jet, but he got stopped at the Miami airport. He got arrested. They say that his charges got dropped because he went to rehab or something, but I feel like he's going to be testifying. Yeah. Let's see. They showed the 3 women who were doing the cartoon things. Here, let me show that real quick. I didn't realize it was 3 of them. Her cross-examination is not going to be nothing nice. I know that much. So these are the 3 cartoon sketching women in the courtroom here. So this is when he called the attorneys into his robing room. It says, after the judge requested to speak with each of the lead attorneys in his chambers, the courtroom was abuzz. Mark Agnifilo returned and huddled with his legal team while Combs listened intently. Prosecutors huddled as well, but in a separate corner of the room. It was unclear what the meeting was about, and the judge does not seem like he will address the conversation. It was an unusual way to begin a Monday morning. Jane is on the stand and is expected to continue her testimony. Yeah, that was kind of odd too. Oh, okay. So apparently the judge got a new intern. It says, as the side door to the court opened, Judge Arun Subramanian called for everyone to rise for the jury, then told everyone to sit down. Turns out it was just Subramanian's intern. It was the intern's first day. The judge told the court, joking, that it was nice to see everyone stood up. That's the kind of treatment you can expect in this courtroom, he said. Um, okay, so they're summarizing pretty much all of her testimony here. 3 years of having an F stranger. 3 years is a long time to put up with that cycle. They were definitely in a cycle. And she obviously enjoyed having her rent paid. It sounds like that's really the bulk of what he took care of for her. But for him to just threaten to cut it off at any moment, she didn't have anything lined up. I just don't understand why she just couldn't start lining up stuff. And then she said she was making money on OnlyFans. So just downsize that 10K apartment. And you're in LA, so you probably could even buy something modest and chill out. Take care of your child. Okay, she said that he love bombed her a lot. She did admit she was consenting. So I don't know if the issue is that it wasn't consent. It could just be the fact that it was more of a manipulation and a coercion aspect. Fraud is also, I think, a part of the RICO. Okay, so we know that the government has a day, so they're going to respond today to the mistrial request, which I'm looking forward to see what the government has to say in response. And I'm pretty sure they're going to deny the fact that they knew they're basically being accused of lying and being accused of misconduct, a prosecutorial misconduct. Okay, I think I read that part. Yep. Yeah, it was interesting too when he did say, I don't want any loose ends. That was an interesting statement. Okay, so this is also interesting that's going on in the courtroom. I'm going to let Khadijah Lynn tell us. Is this thing frozen? Oh, here we go.
Diddy mouthed "I know you" to Stephanie Sue on 2 separate occasions. And I'm not gonna lie, if it was me, I would have probably peed my pants because on 2 separate occasions, Diddy was staring her down like this and then mouthed the words, "I know you." And to me, knowing how Diddy works, I really feel like he is trying to intimidate her. And then the fact that she started talking about getting really weird questions from random people when she was coming out of the courtroom, asking where she was staying recently, is even more terrifying. Since she's been in the courtroom covering the Diddy trial, she said that she has moved hotel rooms 8 times to keep her team safe. But she said more recently, there have been more and more people coming up to her, only asking where she's staying at. And this paired with Diddy staring her down and saying, "I know you," honestly kind of terrifies me for her because something's not right about that. You don't have random people coming up to you and the first thing they're saying is, "Where are you staying at?" Like, for me to logically think about that, I would never walk up to anybody that I didn't know and be like, "Hey, where are you staying at?" Like, that
is because they're getting paid to do that. I'm pretty sure. I'm going to actually play the actual person it happened to.
So the past 2 weeks, we have had almost 8 or 9 times completely new faces that will come up to us, tell us that they love our show, Rotten Mango, and then they keep asking us where we're staying, which hotel we're staying at, which part of the city we're staying at. And of course, we give them very non-committal answers because that's a very invasive question to ask. So like, just to give you an idea, like clearly, if someone is a member of the press, or if it's a fellow content creator or somebody that I see every single day and we have some sort of foundation and they ask me, where are you staying? It feels like, oh, because we're all trying to get a gauge of all the hotels nearby, which one's a good one, which one has good amenities for after court. But these are random people that are like, hey, by the way, I love your show. Nice to meet you. My name is blank. Where are you staying? It's like instant, just nonstop questions about which hotel we're staying at. And then if we evade the question, it becomes, what part of the city? Which area? How long does it take you to get here? Do you Uber or do you walk? Who's all staying with you? Is it just you guys? Is it just you and your researcher here? Do you go home during the weekends if you're not from the city? Do you fly back home? Do you take the train? Like, it's just nonstop.
Like, what are some of these questions going to provide for this person? Like,
Nothing.
There's no need for anybody to ask these type of questions.
And the worst part is, it's pretty clear that we're so uncomfortable with these questions because we'll literally be like, yeah, haha, and then they'll just keep asking.
And some of them don't seem like they've really watched anything from you. Yeah.
Because now, like, our researchers do this thing where they will try to have conversations about the show, and most of them have no clue what the show is even about, is the feeling.
Yeah.
And then this person will just vanish. That'll be like the first conversation we have with them, and then we'll never see them in court again. So one specific time, there was a man, an older guy, who's asking us where we're staying, just pressing. And he's in the main courtroom in the public section. He's asking us all these invasive questions, and then he's waiting for us in the hallway during each break, just casually lingering near us the entire day, and then just rerouting every conversation back to which hotel you're staying at, pressing details. My researcher passes me a note later in the day saying, look at him right now. He doesn't even have a notebook. So usually, because you can't bring your phone and you're not just like staring. I mean, even members of the public, they're all taking notes, even if they're not content creators. Sure enough, I look, no notebook, no notes are being taken, nothing. And then he never shows up to court again. Another odd instance, this is a completely separate person that's asking nonstop where we're staying. We give a non-committal answer to him. He keeps asking. And again, it's not giving that, hey, I'm genuinely curious because I'm also staying at a hotel. It's just so unsettling. We refuse to answer. We keep laughing it off. He keeps pressing. Later during a break, he approaches my researcher outside while I'm in the bathroom. And then he asks her where I'm staying. And she again does not respond because he just asked us while we were. It was just weird. He literally just asked us. So the past 2 weeks, we have had almost 8 or 9 times completely new faces that will come up to us, tell us that they love our show, Rotten Mango, and then they keep asking us where we're staying, which hotel.
That is super creepy. Yeah, it's definitely creepy. And I would be telling the feds at this point, because there's no reason for all of that. I'm pretty much done over here. I want to read y'all's comments. I saw Juti. You said it's troubling. It definitely is. Okay, yeah, that is age gap. I mean, it's not illegal, but yeah. But yeah, I could see how she would be pissed. Jane would be pissed about the fact that he's out there having these what looks like dates with women, young women, younger than. See, she's young too, though. I think she's in her late 20s. I thought she was older than that. Or she in her 30s. 34, did she say? Nevertheless, she is seemingly, the way she's testifying, wanting to be like a girlfriend, even though she said she was okay with the fact that she wasn't the only one. She didn't realize she was only going to be the hotel night girl. She thought, I'm going to be, the one out front and center, being taken out on dates and trips. He's paying for my apartment, basically being kept and just having to have sex with him. But then he's bringing in these other men. She seemed to do it at first as a more like a treat for him, or just to satisfy this weird random thing he wants to do. But then come to find out later, this is more of the regular and the normal than is not. And it's not something she initially signed up for. She did not want this type of relationship with this man, but it was kind of like she's stuck in a sense. I mean, I think that at the end of the day, she definitely, I'm sure the drugs didn't help. Okay. But she should have sought help sooner. Like she could have gone to, I don't know where she could have gone, but she could have just gotten out that apartment so that he didn't have that to hold over her head anymore. She could have, I think, planned to move out maybe somewhere she could afford, on her own, or gotten some more brand deals or something, and then gotten out from under him. But the fact that she says they were together up till he was arrested, he's still paying her rent, he's still paying her attorney fees. There's something wrong with that. Something is not right. I don't know. I can't put my finger on. Something's missing. Either something's missing from that story. She's not telling everything, and maybe he's paying her to not tell everything, because it's just weird to me how all those civil suits had him R-wording men and being with men and stuff and underage people, but this indictment, or these 3, don't have any of that stuff in there. It's very interesting. No celebrities, no Justin Bieber, no Usher, even though the time frame doesn't line up with that. But I just feel like the government has to be careful, because they can only, do in court what they could prove. They can only bring to light what they can prove. That's it. So we're going to see what the government says about this so-called mistrial. And Let me see if there's anything else. I have to refresh my screen. Okay, that was the last. Yeah, this is how she describes he spoke to her, though. It's really creepy, y'all.
But here's what happened, and you tell me, because what is going on? Usually, Sean Combs, he does a sweep of the press pews when he first walks into the courtroom. He's like hugging his attorneys. He'll look to the public side, which is on his right, and then we're kind of diagonal from him. And he oftentimes, since more of his supporters are coming to the courtroom these days, he'll shoot them little hand hearts. He'll put his hand to his chest. He'll mouth thank you. And then the press pews, we get a simple glance over and sometimes a nod, like a quick head down nod. Now, clearly, this stands out to both my researcher and I really strongly because on Thursday, we even write the time down, at 8:50 a.m., jurors are not in the courtroom. Attorneys are doing their thing. They're going through their documents. They're conversing about certain aspects of the day. Sean Combs sits down at his chair, and he turns in his chair to the right. This is our eye direction, like we can see him now. He makes eye contact with the press pews. We're at the very first row of the press pews. So there's 2 rows behind us. Now he glances over the press pews. He starts staring in what felt like in our general direction, or perhaps right behind us. And it's a pretty lengthy stare. And then he starts nodding while mouthing the words dramatically, "I know you."
You don't hear it, you only see the mouthing, right?
Yeah, and it was clear that he was doing it so whoever is receiving it can understand what he's saying. Because it's not like mumbling. He's like, "I know you." Like very clear. He mouths it twice with what we perceive to be a smirk. Then as he's turning back around to face the front, he's like ever so slightly shaking his head while he's still smirking.
And at that point, the feeling was he was saying that towards you, right?
Yeah, so my researcher wrote, like, it looked like he was looking at Stephanie. I wrote, like, listen, you know when you can, like, make eye contact with someone, it feels like they're looking at you? Because you know when you're talking to someone and they're looking behind you, you start, like, looking behind you without even thinking about it subconsciously because you're like, wait, what's going on? Why are you looking behind me? It felt like he was looking at me, but again, I'm not trying to be dramatic. I don't know if he was looking at me. He could have been looking behind me, right? But then right at that moment, the jury comes in, we all stand up, and as there's noise in the courtroom, because we're not allowed to talk when the judge is on the bench, a reporter from a major media network, I mean, she's been doing this for years and years, she's like a professional, she turns to me and she whispers, quote, "You're putting that in your video, right?" Because that was at least 7 seconds. But here's what happened, and you tell me, because what is going on? Usually, Sean Combs will do this thing where...
So what it sounds like to me is that she's being targeted by Diddy in the courtroom. Her channel is pretty big. It's called something, I forgot, something about a melon. But nevertheless, the girl is being targeted by that man, and they need to put a stop to that. That's intimidation. Thank you for the bells. Diddy's definitely destroyed them. They are definitely victims. Yeah. It's sad they broke down on the stand. That is so weird, creepy. It is. Yep. Yeah, definitely Diddy has something to do with whoever is questioning her and walking up to her. It reminds me of those so-called investigators. Right after Jay-Z, it seems, got sued. All these so-called investigators start showing up at these influencers' homes. This stuff is not a coincidence, and the feds need to know about it. They need to know. So, all right, y'all. Listen, you guys have a great rest of your Monday. Thank you for being here. We are going to be back tomorrow. I think the cross exam is going to be tomorrow. Hopefully, it's not an all dang day. We got to get this show on the road, child. A couple weeks left of this, on the prosecution side at least, and then we're going to see what happens. A lot of people think, even though all this stuff has come out, that this is just still a domestic violence case. They don't see a RICO. There's a lot of people out there defending Diddy, and again, I believe they're getting paid for it. I really do. Michelle said it's so crazy how people like Diddy have so much power over people. If it was not for the drugs, Diddy would not have that power. I agree with that too. That plays a huge part. The drugs play a huge part, which is why I believe the prosecution has been keeping them pretty vocal about the drug use. So yeah, that's all I got for now though. Peace and love. Thank you.